Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Architect extraordinaire. Yes, John Riggio. If you're looking for an architect in the tri-state, guess what? He's your guy. John Riggio, based out of New Jersey. But boy, oh boy, his background is pretty intense. I've known him for probably over a year now. And we always have great conversations, get to see all his work. Let me have him start by introducing himself. Hello, John.
Hi, Jill. How are you?
I'm great, sweetheart. Happy for a Monday. And yourself? Hope you had a good weekend.
Yes, very good. Thanks.
Tell us, man with many talents here. Tell us about the architect world, who you are, what you do.
Yes, I'm going to talk about my architect work, my architect office. And so I have my architect office, and it works in primarily the three states of New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. And I was just researching some of my jobs from years ago. And I was able to find one project that I had already discussed before, and I found some drawings. Now, this job is part of a series of projects that I had discussed going back to around between the years of around maybe 2004 to 2008, some larger projects. And this is right before they had the big depression, or they might even call it a recession in the economy in 2008. So this job was ending off in those years.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a project that involved a number of architects, owners of the property, contractors. It was passed around a lot. But one thing about this project, I was able to answer all the objections on this project and get the project where they started construction. And they did finish the job, but I was able to really fix the job, make it work, and have them start getting the permits. And I was going to show some.
Yes.
pictures.
I would love to have you share the screen and to check out some of this work.
Okay, so let me just go on to here to the drawing. So this is going back to the year 2008. And let me just zoom out of this. Okay, and let me share the screen now. Okay, good. Okay, so I think you can see here that there's an elevation, and it's showing a 7-story building.
Mm-hmm.
It involves parking and just basic apartments. And this is a job that was like I said, worked on by a number of architects. And but I think one thing about this, like I was saying, is that I was able to get this job where they started construction of the project. And so this is another drawing just showing the section. And this is showing the plan of where the parking lot is, the parking going through the front entrance of the building, and they have parking there.
And this is, by the way, where is this, Long Island City? I was reading. I was trying to zoom in.
No, this is in Brooklyn, New York City.
Oh, okay, perfect. I saw Long Island City there on there. Well, that was when you were in Queens, I guess. I was reading the address.
Yes, correct. My office was let's see where
I used to live right on Center Boulevard, Vernon and Center over there.
Yes, that was up on the 3007 Northern Boulevard.
Oh my gosh.
And in Long Island City, yes. So I was over there. And so this is one job that was typical at the time. I mean, these jobs, I was working on a lot of these jobs, and I think my office was mostly focused on the large type of jobs and a lot of commercial projects at the time too. I was working on a lot of commercial jobs. So this is what was going on at the time, and let's see the next one. So these are just some floor plans going through each floor. I think multi-story building, one thing that's somewhat simple about it is most of the floors are similar. The staircases are usually a stairwell that has the stairs just changing sides of each of the steps, and have an elevator shaft. So that's what's going on here. And then this is the next drawing here. This is just going through the different floors. Now I went through this, and this is I went through all the adjustments on this plan, making sure it can get constructed.
Oh my goodness.
And okay, so this is also the first floor
First
plan.
floor,
It's similar to
okay.
the paving plan, but it's just showing just basically the plan of the spaces, the elevator shaft, the entrance for the where the cars enter.
Okay.
And let me see if there's anything else on this.
Yeah, this stuff just fascinates me, architecture in general. And like the last time I worked with an architect was to
Okay,
submit plans for a 16 by 20 shed. These are like intense.
yes, these are just basic plans here
Oh,
of
so
the
then you have the inserts on a separate page of what's, oh gosh. How
and
the,
this is just the basic drawing of where it's
mm-hmm,
located. And then from here I can show you. Let me just exit out of here and then share the screen on the Google.
sure.
Okay, can you see the picture?
Beautiful.
Okay, so this is the finished product of this house here. So
Wow.
it was constructed. It went through a few architects, a lot of engineering services and things like that, but they did finish it, and this is the finished product. I think a lot of these, since there's so many people
Beautiful.
involved, and you're not necessarily the first architect. A lot of times I am the first architect doing the zoning. I have ability to do zoning in New York City, and I do
Okay.
the design sketch. And then there's also the next issue is, of course, is the cost. A lot of times they want to get the price down on the architect. So the fee might be a large fee, and then they might switch. They switch for different reasons. They might switch
Okay.
or get a lower price. And then like a lot of times I like to switch the architect and the engineer for interesting reasons that it isn't just their job. They don't want the larger project to be where this is their one job and they're gonna
Okay.
sit at it and watch the job all the
Mm-hmm.
time, like we're looking at it now. So they
Yeah.
don't want people to sometimes someone might go, they even might take a chair and sit and look at the structure and they
Yeah.
the building owner, a lot of times I know different building owners from time doing these kind of work and they tell me stories like that. So this is a typical project that has it's a larger size because it has a number of stories and it was just finished by a few different owners of the property, different contractors, different architects were on the job. But this one I'm showing because I did start the job. I have the official contract that I'm the sole architect of the
Yay.
job, and that I had already made all the corrections on this to make it work. And this job I even called over to some contractors that know how to erect the steel on this kind of structure, and they were able to get a good price per square foot for them. So I think that really also gave them the incentive to really build
Okay.
this particular building. And I think it's larger than the other buildings next to it. You see, a lot of them are 3-story structures, and
Yep.
this one's going up to 7. So it's a larger job, and it was finished. And there's always changes. I think by the time the job starts, the job is finished. Some of the trends in how they construct the exterior finishes change from being a complete brick veneer to adding some panels. So a lot of these buildings they change because there's current changes in the materials, how the building is going to look. So that's what happened with this one. And then just to go to the next one is a current job. So this one, let me just click over to this. Okay, let me just zoom this out. And let me share the screen with this now. Okay, so this is a current job, and this is a very large project. It is right here. It's really much larger than the one in Brooklyn. This
Okay.
is just in parking. I'm showing here, and this one preliminary drawing has 102 parking spaces, and
Yeah.
it's very large. It has 3 stories plus 1 story is 4 apartments.
Okay.
And The apartments are somewhat efficiency apartments. They are just made to be for affordable housing in the area.
Okay.
As this property was originally for mobile homes on the property, and this structure is the idea is to replace this, and it includes some stores too. So they have convenience stores, things like that. Laundry is included in the plan. And then let me go to the next drawing on this. Okay, let me just get this here. Okay, no, it's not that one. It's this one here. Okay, so this one here is this is the plan here. So you see the first floor plan has 1, 2, 3, 4 retail spaces.
Okay.
And it's somewhat large. It's 160 feet wide. The retail depth is 60 feet. And then this whole length of the building is 208 feet. It's a large building.
Mm-hmm.
And this works a similar way. We have an elevator shaft. We have stairs. So we have exit stair on each corner. And then we have efficiency apartments. Some of them are 1 bedroom, some of them are 2 bedrooms, and some of them are 3 bedrooms. And I have them listed here, showing 61 total apartments, 4 retail stores. So the 3 bedroom apartments are about nearly it's 1150 square feet. It's 17 of them. The 2 bedrooms are 881, and that's 12 of them. And then the 1 bedroom apartments are 612 square feet at 32 of them, and that's how this is. So this is the first floor where you would drive around, and you would have also the office areas between the 2 areas. You have the parking surrounds it, and then this is like a little grass area. And then the second floor is all apartments. And let's go to the next one here. Okay, then the 3rd and 4th floor. So let me just zoom out. So we have the 3rd floor. And this has, I added on here the laundry rooms for each floor. It has the elevator for the whole floor. And then it goes over to the 4th floor here. What the plan is pretty much mirrored. Since there's a certain number of 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom, as we reach the maximum for each number of bedrooms, there might be a slightly different number of the arranged rooms on each floor. So this one here, the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor, and then we're showing a laundry room, and on the 4th floor we're having a fitness room also.
Oh, okay.
Let me go to the next plan on this. Okay, and then this is the elevations. So this is the elevations here, and this just shows the massing of the structure. It shows here to have 1, 2, 3 floors. And just shows that the front elevation has the 4 stores with the storefront glass. Then we have the side elevation. And it just shows, because this property slopes from the rear of the property to the front, it slopes about 5 feet. But
do people come in, do the contractors come in and level it, or no, you can't change that elevation?
On this one, since it goes up 5 feet, but there's a road on the other side. So let me go back to the site plan just to go through this. Okay, there it is. Okay, so now on the site plan, you have here the Eastern
There's the Eastern Turnpike. Okay.
This is a large road. And then over here, you have Route 22. I think most people are probably familiar with Route 22.
Yeah.
So they have 2 major roads. So the elevation of this major road, we really can't change it.
Oh, got it.
2 curb cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have the 2 entrance and exits onto that main road. And then it slopes about 5 feet down to Route 22. So we're going to keep the slope. And what we're going to do is just going to cut into the cellar of the where the apartments is, and those are just used as utility spaces.
Okay.
So the slope of this property, we're going to keep it. We're not really going to change it too much.
Okay.
And I think just the plan here just showing where we have the drive around and everything. And so this is a one current project that I have. It's a large job, and so this is a similar type of project, and we'll have to see how that works out. I mean,
Awesome.
that is just showing one project from long ago that was somewhat large, and then a new project that I'm working on that is it's another larger job too.
Beautiful. I love seeing, oh my goodness, the amount of work that goes into it. And then, like, you taught me something new for these types of projects. You're not using just one architect or one firm, right? There's multiple levels and layers of this you mentioned.
Yeah, a lot of times what happens is
Uh,
on these size jobs, a lot of times it gets passed from one architect to
mm-hmm.
another, and many times they change contractors. And on the project I showed from 2008, that property changed owners 3 times. So even the owner of the property changes on some of the larger jobs. So this is that I'm just showing one older job and one new job, a little larger size.
Awesome. Well, what else did you want to share about you as an architect in your world of architecture, by the way, also pro
Yes.
tennis
Well, I
player?
always like to talk about the architect profession. I think a lot of people like architecture work. They want to become an architect or become an architectural draftsman. And I think one aspect about architect work that I haven't talked about too much is that there's a lot of math involved. So usually I always talk about you need art skills, but there is a lot of math involved. I think a lot of people, I don't know if they like doing regular math. The math usually goes up to maybe advanced trigonometry. And
I was going to say, we're talking trig, we're talking calculus, we're talking, can we use
yes,
do we
a
have
lot of
Texas Instruments? Do we use, I remember
yes,
Texas Instrument. I remember, do you use those?
yeah, of course. Yes.
Okay.
Well, what for architect work, there's special calculators.
Oh,
They
didn't even know
like the
that.
Texas Instrument is usually like maybe you go into learn calculus 1 or above.
Mm-hmm.
But for architect work, there's a lot of converting from standard units, foot and inches, to decimal places. And you always have to use special calculators. I have a few of them. I have one of them. I like this one as a calculated industries calculator. I've had this for a long time. And this has all the different things that you would need for, and there's a newer one of the same calculator.
Yeah. Wow. You have them
What
right there.
that has is
I can't
that
believe it.
has a lot of things like converting angles on a property. So I think on the site plan I had showed on the screen just a few minutes ago, it has what's called meet and bounds. And the meet and bounds, they relate into angles. And you have to have the ability to take those numbers on the meet and bounds and put them into an angle with a decimal point to put it into your CAD computer system. And that is one thing that is necessary to do. I think there's some also, I think very interesting calculations, things like there's all kinds of things like electrical calculations like this, like you will use like things like electrical calculator and things like that to do lighting and wiring and things like that. And I think as far as the calculation go, it really starts off at the start of your project. You're doing more like a business calculation to start off with. You're doing how many hours you're going to work on the job, how large the project is, and then from knowing
Mm-hmm.
your experience, you calculate your per hourly wage, your overhead, and you get an architectural fee. And I think in architect work, a lot of people like to work with flat rate.
Mm-hmm.
They don't usually hire per hour, so they know you can always run up the prices with the per hour. They like you to put it
Like
all
an
together and
attorney.
give them one fee.
Okay.
And I think the next thing with as far as the math goes is then the next thing is really as soon as you get a job and you talk to someone, you don't talk to someone really about the architectural style so much. A lot of times you have to go through the zoning calculations.
Okay.
And the zoning calculations, you have to first have the ability to read the building code and then see the numbers on the like the bulk schedule they have for the zone and things like that. And then you have to do some calculations, area calculations. Some of them might have involved with foot and inches, converting foot and inches. You get a whole series of math calculations with floor area ratio, lot coverage, impervious surface coverage, things like that. There's all kinds of percentage of setbacks on narrow lots. There's all kinds of things like that. Then, of course, from there, then when you finally get past that, then you're with the owner and you're starting to design the job, and then you're getting into area calculations. Like I showed the 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, you're getting into what size floor areas you want. Is like 692 small for a 1 bedroom? You want to get a little larger one, or things like that, where you want to try to economize it down, try to get it even smaller. And that is the next thing with the calculations. And also you have to start to, as you design the building, you might get it wider. You start to have to go through and use like calculations, dimensioning the outside of the building or the house, getting floor areas. Then with these double height spaces, you have to subtract the double height spaces to get your floor area. So that takes some time, and it has to do with also not minding doing those calculations. I think most of them are basic math. The math, it isn't math like for a scientist. I think the most complicated math the architects are doing, I think, is there is some math with the insulation. I think starting off years ago, I used to have to calculate the U value manually. Today, they have a computer software that is on the internet, and that's called ResCheck, or they also have ComCheck for commercial jobs. And you just put the numbers in and they do it for you. But originally, you had to really write an equation of the heat value, get the U value, get a reciprocal, things like that. And then the next, I think, most complicated in math is, aside from mechanical, electrical, is also the structural, of course. And the architects, they need to know the basic structural calculations, calculate a beam. A lot of things about architect work compared to advanced engineering would be to use charts. And that's one good thing about architect work, is that you can use charts for most of the structure, and that's really preferred because that is giving you standardized building that's been done over years and years. And that's one idea of an architect, is to use standardized building. And then a lot of times you might have to do calculations for columns, main beams, things like that. And you do have to know some basic math. So there is math. But then the math isn't really over for the job. One thing about the math is at the end of each job, when you have to really put together all the drawings, all the zoning, the forms, the zoning forms, and the building permit application, there's a whole series of math. And at the end of every project I work on, it's really like studying for a big math exam. I have to go through all the math on the job, everything, as far as zoning, putting in all those numbers on the forms, getting everything prepared. And that is really culminates into a big, like, studying for a math exam on each job. So that's one thing about working as an architect. Probably a lot of people don't know that. It's very interesting. I think I'm able to do that in math. I mean, but that's one interesting thing about working. And I think the next thing was, as far as just math, is that using computer software, using CAD software, there is some math involved. There is all those little math things with converting numbers and all kinds of doing things with converting angles, as far as like drawing the site plan. You get the survey from the licensed survey, then you have to take his numbers and you have to apply them onto your drawings. And it's this whole series of math you have to go through, which is very interesting. And I think that's very interesting as far as architect work, is that there is a lot of math involved. And that starts from the very start of the job, pricing the job, to right to the very end of really finishing the job and preparing the forms to get filed to get the building permit. So that is really one interesting thing about architect work. I think a lot of people don't talk about it, but it is the whole job from the start to the end. There is a lot of math involved.
Yeah, well, thank you for letting us know that if you're interested in the career, you got to be good at math, or at least start getting good at math if you want to be an architect. John Riggio, how do we reach out to you for more information?
Yes, the best way is to go to my webpage at www.johnriggio.com. There you'll find samples of my work. You'll find my contact information. And from there, you can send me an email or call me on the phone, and I can help you with your project.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you here, and we'll talk next week, I assume.
You're
Enjoy the
welcome.
week and the beautiful weather for today until
Yeah.
the rain comes in. Bye, darling.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.